I have with me my guest, Brother Daryl Everhart, but I want to say a few more things and then we will continue on. In the providence of God, I came across today a couple more men who were Knights of Malta. Robert Zoellick, Zoellick. Robert Zoellick. You know who Robert Zoellick is? We should know who he is by the power that he wields. Well, he was appointed by that papal slave, George W. Bush, that bonesman and Freemason, that papal slave that he is. He was appointed to head the World Bank. Robert Zoellick, heading the World Bank, Knight of Malta. Hey, Lindsey Williams, I want to tell you something now. Remember, you're telling all of us that it's the World Bank behind the oil crisis and behind the manipulation of the prices? Hey, well, Lindsey, this guy right here, Robert Zoellick, he's a Knight of Malta. Why don't you tell us about him, Lindsey? You supposed Baptist preacher, if you are a Baptist preacher, you will tell the truth no matter what it costs you. And the men you've been talking to, the men who said you're backing McCain, the men who said we're going to drop oil to $50 to $60 a barrel, exactly what has happened. Why don't you tell us these men are Knights of Malta? Robert Zoellick, Knight of Malta, head of the World Bank. Let's go to another one. Richard Torrenzano, Richard Torrenzano, Knight of Malta. You know what he is? Well, he's a spokesman for the New York Stock Exchange. My. A spokesman for the New York Stock Exchange. The Knights of Malta run the stock exchange. They run that casino up there, and they know what's going to happen every day, and they make millions of dollars every day knowing all the inside trades, while the poor souls that invest in the stock exchange seeking to have a larger portfolio and really trying to want to build a country with funding corporations, they get waxed! How about another one? Here's John Robert Bolton. He was at the UN, a representative of the UN for the U.S. He's a Knight of Malta. But look what also he's involved with. The Jewish Institute for National Security Affairs, JINSA. Gee, do you think there's a connection between the Knights of Malta and this Jewish Institute for National Security Affairs, as well as the World Jewish Congress? Do you think the Knights of Malta have anything to do with those Jewish organizations? They run them. Let's look at another one. Edward L. Hennessy, Jr. He's a Knight of Malta. I mentioned him in my book, Vatican Assassins. He is a director of the New York Stock Exchange. So here's another Knight of Malta in the New York Stock Exchange. How about telling us about that guy, Tex? How about you, Alex Jones? How about you, Noel? How about telling us about the Knights of Malta in New York, running the banks? Or it's all the Jews, huh? Come on now, you got to deal with these facts. And you know how you guys deal with them? You ignore them. You know why? Because you're coadjutors. You're not stupid, and you're not gutless. So that only leaves one other solution. You're coadjutors, busy serving the Pope, seeking to direct our attention away from the Vatican onto some impotent Jews who are nothing more than creatures and surrogates for the Pope. Look at it here. Edward L. Hennessy, he's also a director of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Along with Timothy Geithner. You sinner! How about another one? Here is Lord Guthrie of Craigbank. Lord Guthrie of Craigiebank. He's a Knight of Malta. Now look at where he's from. Lord Guthrie, Guthrie of Craigiebank. He was a representative to the Trilateral Commission from guess where? From N.M. Rothschild and Sons. Here's a Knight of Malta working for Nathan M. Rothschild and Sons, really running it, and he was a representative to the Trilateral Commission. Yeah, that's right. All the Rothschild interests are controlled directly or indirectly by the Knights of Malta, and just look up Lord Guthrie if you don't believe me. The Rothschilds are the Pope's court Jews, at the best of keepers of the Pope's Vatican treasury. And one more. Edwin J. Fulner, Knight of Malta, president of Heritage Foundation. He was the founder of it, actually, financed by Richard Mellon Scaife out of Pittsburgh. There's another Roman Catholic Knight of Malta. But look here. Here's Edwin J. Fulner. He's International Monetary Fund and World Bank insider, sent by the U.S. to the World Bank. All of these men are Knights of Malta. All of them are busy serving the Pope. All of them are seeking to make a world government under the Pope from a rebuilt Hebrew temple in Jerusalem, making Jerusalem a new world capital. And this is completely in accord with what the papacy wants. This is what the Vatican wants. One verse of Scripture, and then we shall continue. Ephesians 5:11. And having no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. The purpose for this ministry, the purpose for this broadcast, is to reprove, to bring to light the unfruitful works of darkness, which the papacy and anybody else, which ultimately will be traced to them, is engaged in, that we might know what to do.